Thank you for joining the Free Outside podcast. If you're in the wrong place, I'm sure you can figure out how to get out of here. Anyways, it is the midst of Wasatch training, but that's all about that. Joe McConaughey did not get the FKT. I will let him on various platforms say what happened out there, but it sounds pretty crazy. And today we are interviewing Derrick Lytle, who is a videographer, runner, thru hiker, bikepacker, photographer. What else? He's friends with Billy Yang, if that helps anything. He just makes a lot of cool trail running films. He films a lot of different events ranging from Cocodona to Grand. He is going to be filming the stage race that I am doing this year in September. So we talk about that. We talk about this high carb revolution in exercise and some of the things that not a lot of people bring up. We talk about bikepacking. We talk about how he got into the industry, why he thinks he has to run or do races to still be part of the community. We talk about his background. We talk about the most underrated city in Arizona. So I think I'm just like talking about what we were talking about. So I think it's time to just get this interview rolling. I guess any front thoughts of the episode? I am pretty tired. Oh, I got stung by a bee again. And I had another adverse reaction, just like the Tahoe Rim Trail where it stung me on the arm and my arm swelled up. This time I got stung. A bee like got caught in my heart rate monitor right on my chest, and it stung me and my chest swelled up. So that was actually a little scary because I was a couple miles from my car and I wanted to do one more loop. So I did like 4 more miles. So I did do the other loop and just hoped that since it was a sting so close to my heart, nothing bad would happen, but gotta live on the wild side, you know. All right, let's roll right into the interview. It is a fun one, so thanks again for joining us. Oh yeah, we need 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and also leave us a good comment or any comment. Just write your favorite animal as a 5-star review on Apple. That would be pretty funny. Okay, let's get into the interview. Thanks, guys. All right, welcome to the podcast, Derrick Lytle, I believe is how you say this. Thanks for joining us. So what would you tell people that you do for a career?
Oh man, I wear a lot of hats, but the main thing would be making videos, taking photos, and I feel like I'm a professional driver more than anything now. I drive quite a bit.
Yeah, how much of your career earnings do you think have been driven by Hayden Hawks?
Something kind of driving I was talking about, but I don't know, fair amount. He's a good friend of mine. Maybe 10%.
Just lightening the mood. So how did you get started with video? I did actually do a little research on you, and it sounds kind of cool. Like you had to use real film and stuff back in the day.
Yeah, so like when I was a kid, like I graduated high school in 2004, and like around that time, like no one really had obviously no one had smartphones at the time. Like having a cell phone wasn't even a thing, and I wanted to get a video camera. Like I grew up in a small town and we played paintball a lot. And it was just kind of like our thing. We were pretty competitive with it. And it was super fun, like small town thing to do. And I wanted to like make videos. And I was like, oh, this would be so cool. Like shoot videos and like whatever with my friends. But at the time, the cameras were just too expensive. But my parents eventually bought me a 35mm film camera. And that was just like my thing. So I started shooting photos of my friends, took a couple classes in high school, one in college, and then didn't really study it in college, but now it's my career.
So for this paintball thing, would everyone else be playing and you're just shooting it, or would you also be playing and shooting it at the same time?
No, like it feels like you're playing sometimes, but no. You definitely differentiate the two, but like you'd get shot just as much as anybody else because like to get the good shots, you have to be in the cool angles. And so it was constantly this game of like getting shot everywhere while trying to get good photos and images and stuff. And it was fun, painful.
And you didn't destroy your camera or something with a paintball to the lens?
Oh, dude, all the time. Like you put filters on the lens, sometimes you get shot, it'd crack it, or you just get like shot up, and it got pretty rough sometimes, but it was always fun.
Yeah, I just imagine like these kind of cool but super small town like videos and photo coming out of the paintball world in Overton, Nevada. Did I get that right?
Yeah, dude, that's where I grew up. But I actually, so the town was so small, like everybody played, but we always went to Utah. We had some friends there that we played with because it's only like an hour away from where I grew up. And it's like actually like a city compared to just like small farm town. And so we had like tournaments and stuff up there. So we drove up there quite a bit, which I guess is my life too, driving. So like, driving then, driving now, like still driving a lot.
Okay, last thing on this paintball thing. When you get a video or some photos, what do you do with it? Do you just share it as friends around? Is it just cool to have, or was there like some story you're trying to tell or anything? Or what was the method?
I think like initially it was just kind of like just shoot cool photos of my friends because like at the time like MySpace was kind of becoming a thing. Like we all had like AOL and like MSN Messenger and stuff.
Yeah,
So, like,
Tom was all our friends. Tom was our friend back then.
Yeah, he was like that top 8, dude.
Yeah, of course, Tom. We've lost every 20-year-old as a listener, but
I was actually I was scrolling something the other day on Instagram and like he commented on somebody's post and it was so funny. Everyone was just like, oh yeah, like Tom was like everyone's first real friend online and like taught me how to code and all this stuff, and now he's living the dream, just traveling and shooting photos. I'm like MySpace was legit though at the time.
yeah,
I
mean, your profile song and everything, your top friends, everything mattered.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you had to have like the girl you liked in your top 8.
Yeah, that was sending a message. That was how you flirted back then.
Yeah, dude. And you had some like cool HTML coding in the background or like CSS stuff that you just copy and pasted.
I know. I like back then you could, I can't remember the button, but you could push and it would show all the coding of a website and you could just like copy and paste that out of everything. But
yeah, it was like the inspector or something. I don't remember. I've obviously don't know anything about coding, but that was like my intro to coding at the time. It was cool.
Yeah, and my master's has been ChatGPT, so it's been full circle.
Dude, imagine having ChatGPT build you a MySpace page.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a challenge for anyone out there. That's so cool. I mean, probably not at all because it's MySpace, but
dude, honestly, if MySpace came back, I would totally get back on board. Like, it was so fun. Hey, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the point in our lives too, but still.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of like a nostalgia thing.
Yeah, maybe that. So how does paintball transition into trail running footage? How do you make this jump?
I don't know. I guess how I think about it is like they have nothing really in common besides being outside, but
totally.
Like I think more than anything, it was just like there's like just like learning to tell stories, and like one obviously was just like for fun, like just hanging out, and like it was kind of a cool like artistic thing to do, and I never really thought of it as art. It was just more of just like hanging out with my friends and like being like, hey, we're doing something cool. But then like as my interest changed over time, it was like okay, like I studied journalism in college. And so like my thing was like, okay, like I want to be a journalist and do all these things, but I got into trail running because I went to school in Utah and like literally went to school like right at the base of the Wasatch Mountains. So like I don't know, I could just like walk out my door and be on trails. It was pretty sick. And so I got into running because everybody
I read a quote that you got into running because you were bored at college. So you took up like an equally boring thing of mostly hiking, which is trail running, because you were bored.
Totally. I was told I'm a boring person, have a boring life. So I'm like, okay, I can go do boring things in the mountains and like maybe not get diabetes.
That's honestly a lot of freedom. If you're called a boring person, like you can do anything in life and you'll either surprise people or just play into being boring. It's perfect.
No, it's a good point. It's like, I don't have any standards, I guess, as far as like, oh, I'm going to hang out with this person who's going to be super fun. Like I'm just boring. And so if I do anything exciting, people are like, whoa, this dude's awesome. And if I don't do anything exciting, it's like, oh, well, he's boring. Like, whatever. He's a boring person.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's perfect. So, okay, you're in Utah, trail running. When does it click and you combine the storytelling, capturing stuff with running? Or did that take a while?
I guess it took a little bit because, like, I was in school and, like, pretty serious about it. Like, thought about, like, staying and going to law school and stuff. But then I took the total opposite way and, like, almost dropped out because I just got really sick of it because I was kind of bored, honestly. But, like, I think so, like, everybody, I went to BYU and, like, there, everybody runs. It's like everybody's running. Like, Ragnars were from Utah. They're huge at the time. All my roommates were running. So I'm like, cool, like, this running thing is kind of fun. But then, like, as I got into like ultras and stuff, I realized that like, oh, speed goat, like that's just up the road. like it's just literally just like an hour away, and then like Wasatch 100. And so I was just like, I'd email the race directors. I emailed Carl. I'm like, hey Carl, can I shoot photos at your race? He's just like, kind of like, why are you even asking?
Yeah.
At the time, it was still like, it's like a big race, but trail running was so small at the time. And so more than anything, I think it's just like my interest just kind of like realigned at that point. So like I stopped playing paintball like after high school. It was just kind of like whatever. Like I'm just gonna like focus on being an adult. And then like went to college, really got into storytelling. And so it's kind of like visual journalism, but like in trail running, if that makes sense. Not really trying to do with it, but like it's how my interests are now, and like it's cool.
Yeah, it makes sense too, because if anyone does a Ragnar, they will get into running. Like it's such a fun environment it's basically like you run legs, right? Like 4 to 8 miles at a time and cover like 200 miles as a team, something like that. And you have a van and stuff like that.
Yeah. And like to someone getting into running, it's like, it's just kind of out there for fun. Like I did it to meet girls and stuff. Like that's why we did it. It's like, okay, like my roommate, like, oh, let's get all these girls like in our apartment complex, like run this race. And it was fun. Like it's something you can do. And like, there's no real pressure besides going out there and just running. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. So it's fun. You get to hang out, you get to meet people. And plus like, it kind of breaks down a lot of barriers with people because you're in a smelly van for a couple of days and you're just doing this thing. And then it's also kind of like a lot of team building in that environment is super fun.
Yeah, the only Ragnar I've done, I had the flu, so I puked the entire time, but I still ran all my legs. So the van, I think, kind of hated me, but, got him done. So.
Yeah, dude, it couldn't have smelled any worse than everything else going on in the van. So
totally. Yeah, dirty socks that people have worn for 3 legs in the last 24 hours. Yeah, it's a mess.
Oh, dude. It's gross, but it's fun, which is trail running in general.
Super fun. Any of those relay team things are... like we don't get those in adulthood, and it's pretty fun that there's at least a few opportunities out there to be on the team and be competitive.
Dude, totally. Like, I don't know, because like I played soccer also growing up too. Like this is like what I did, and like it was like a team sport, but then like running so solo, but then like kind of combining those two things again, it's like, okay, you can make running a team sport, which like an ultra running besides your crew, it's very solo. Even if you are running with other people, it's not like they're on your team. It's just people you pass the time with.
I know. I wish they'd make it like F1 where there were like team championships at the races and stuff like that. That'd be so cool. Like Hoka versus Ultra versus Nike. Man.
Do like cross country, but like ultra running style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's like 10 elite teams and there's like 4 races. They do it every year. I mean, pays for itself and just like viewership.
Dude, that'd be fun. Like imagine like Cocodona, but like you have like 4 or 5 people on your team. And it's like a point rank system. So like you don't just win. Like you have to have like enough points to win like cross country or something. That's how it works.
Yeah.
I never ran cross country, but
I ran for 2 years, then I got bullied and quit. So I'm the one kid who got bullied in high school cross country. So yeah, it was a rough time.
Yeah, now look at you now.
Yeah, just still weird, I think is the thing. Okay, so we're like almost to adulthood here. So we're just going through the Derrick Lytle files. But
even though you know all the answers to these questions, you're just like,
yeah, I read it all.
Derrick lied in the past about his life.
Yeah, exactly. I'm testing you right now, and then the post after the interview, I'm going to do a segment where I just break down all the lies.
Is this like politics or something? Like like live fact checking me and.
Yeah, I like to call it the gotcha moment at the end where it's just like where we got him the most.
You go and like you read through like all my responses. You're like, lie, partially true, lie. And then I just hang up because I'm pissed.
Yeah, no, that's on the YouTube video. It just like has a big X over it when you say it or a big check mark if it's true. I'm working with Snopes on this new idea. So it's going to be like live TV. It's going to be great.
Dude, I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it really gets the people going. Okay, so let's just jump forward to when did you run like your first ultra? When did you photograph enough of these to realize that it's a lot? It's not as hard as thinking you have to run 100 miles straight. Because I had the same realization where it's like they don't just straight run 100 miles. They do a little walking.
Yeah, I'm definitely running like marathon pace, like at Wasatch or something.
Yeah, totally.
I signed up for a 50K on the Antelope Island in Utah. It's called the Buffalo Run. It's kind of like a local classic event. Mm-hmm. And then like I knew nothing about like actually running. So like I was like, I'm gonna do a lot of miles and run fast, and then end up like hurting myself, getting IT band issues. So I ran the 25K, and then eventually I ran the 50K there. And like, you look at my ultra sign up, like it's never anything impressive. Like I'm kind of embarrassed, honestly, to like, what's your ultra sign up? I'm like, oh, don't make it up. I don't really have a good race, but I couldn't tell you the exact year, but like around that time, all these things just kind of like molded together. So it's kind of like this thing of like, oh yeah, running's fun, but shooting running is fun too. And like, it's kind of like doing both at once.
Yeah, I'm curious. Did you feel like you had to run some ultras or some races to kind of be in with people who are running them that you're shooting as well? Did you have to like do them to be part of the community?
Yeah, definitely. Like the community and stuff obviously is very accepting in general of people. But like, I think like from like a strictly like creative perspective, I felt like I had to run it because it's like to shoot something and like make it good. I feel like you have to do that sport for the most part. There's like a lot of exceptions to that rule, but I just feel like that's really true. So you have to kind of like be in that moment and know what it feels like to run a 50K or 100K or something. And granted, I've never ran 100 before, but it's like being out there for multi-days doing things. Like you have to experience that to really know like how to shoot it. I think like Howie Stern, for example, is a really good example. Like he shot tons and tons of events, but if you look at his history in running, like it's wild. Like he's ran Hard Rock, what, like 10, 11 times. And
he's run Uray. Yeah. Like after he had surgery.
Yeah. Like he had like cancer and stuff. I'm like, yeah, it is wild. But like you can see that in his images though too. Like he can like almost like predict moments that are coming up like in an event and be in a position to get that shot. Whereas somebody who's like, say from NPR, New York Times will come out and be like, oh, like here's a photo with a flash, and it just looks like it's like a picture. It doesn't really show anything. It's different. So,
yeah.
Because I feel that same way, I guess, about myself. Like I had to run these events, but also I wanted to. Cause like, oh, this is a cool thing to do. Like being outside and pushing myself and like just doing these things.
Yeah. There was a sunset outside of Sedona and Howie Stern was up there, and as crested the hill, he just like went sprinting like 5:30 pace to get to the spot that he'd picked out based on where the sun was going to be, and got like the most impressive shots. And that's just for like one runner out of 250 at Cocodona. So it's just pretty amazing to see him in action. He couldn't even tell who the runner was. He was just willing to do that for whoever it was. And then on the flip side, the year I did Barkley, Real Sports was out there, like the HBO show, I think. And like the setup, what they were filming, what they were asking was so stupid that I don't know. It's just like the coming into something like a wrecking ball and having no idea what you're doing versus setting up, telling the perfect story just based on years of experience really shows. And that's why the next thing I want to get into is your attempts at the Arizona Trail FKT.
Oh, jeez, dude. This is my claim to fame. Every time someone does the Arizona Trail, like it's brought up.
Well, okay, it sucks to fail for sure, but I do love that you just like go after it. Like, I don't know. I think you just went through like 2 or 3 days of thunderstorms on one of the attempts and were under the delusion that you'd make it through and keep going, I think.
Pretty much. I feel like, so I've been thinking a lot about this recently, and like maybe this is like my midlife crisis, is like realizing that like I train a lot and then like I sign up for events and don't do like 90% of them because work comes up. Like that's the problem with like working in this industry, is like things cross over so much. Like I want to do Cocodona, but it's like, okay, I'm always out there working or something. And it's like, or Western States, but it's like, well, I work at it every year, Hard Rock or something. And like with the Arizona Trail, it's kind of that thing where it's like a train, but then like, I don't remember if it was that attempt or another one. Like I had a 10-day shoot, the Grand to Grand Ultra in Kanab. So I was out there for 10 days filming that. And then I was like, well, I'm going to go like start the Arizona Trail like the day after. And I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Like I worked for 10 days straight and like you're out in the sun, it's hot, not sleeping. And it's like, now I'm going to go like hike for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Like
at like the fastest you can hike.
Yeah. And then like that one year was like torrential, like rainstorms, like 20 miles in, I'm just like lightning striking and I'm like stuck on the Kaibet Plateau and then dumped on in the Grand Canyon the whole time and ended up being a mess. But it's like, I don't know. It's like either don't do it, like either like plan it and like just dedicate my life to something and do that, or try to have a work schedule and work-life balance and then like fail at these things. So it's like I still need to find this balance between being successful and like also like being successful in life.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard. I just had that with the Tahoe Rim Trail. I had like a 4-day window to do a 40-hour FKT with a 12-hour drive on each side. So I just kind of look back and realize that, I don't know, a lot of things went wrong, but number one was probably didn't respect how much was going to have to go into that thing. It's like, just show up, get it done, and leave. No big deal.
I think that's kind of common, like in the ultra world. It's like, oh, like I've done this distance before. Like I can just go and do it, bang it out, and like go home. It's like I've thought about the like 50Ks where I don't train enough, and I end up like walking half of it, even though it's only a 50K, and I've done that like plenty of times. But then I'm like, wow, like I totally disrespected the distance and what ultra run it is.
I know. I had that thought on my run today. It was just like, oh, I got Wasatch 100 coming up. Even if I'm not feeling like that mentally motivated, it's fine. It's only 100 miles. That's a little bit of a scary mindset because I was just going to race tomorrow and it was just like, I am not feeling it. So dropped out. But yeah, the whole respect the distance thing, respecting the distance of the Arizona Trail too.
Yeah. And like the Arizona Trail itself, like obviously, is like, it's hard. Like people think of it like, oh, there's not that much elevation change or whatever, but it's like the north side, like North Kaibab Plateau is like, it's freezing, like sometimes at night. Like it's so cold. Grand Canyon's stifling hot. And then you have all these mountains and it's like a lot of like really technical or just really boring dirt roads. So it's like, it kind of sucks sometimes. And there's like no water essentially too. So it's hard. So even on paper, it looks easy. It's not as easy as it seems.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, it's like a trail you obsess about. I set foot on it in like 2018 and went for the FKT on it 6 months later because it just is like so cool and it changes so quickly and it's so diverse. And now we get to see that with Mike McKnight of just like coming back continually because it's just like in him that he has to do this FKT. But I totally get it. It's just a really engaging trail and it's a really cool but also tough distance to solve.
Yeah, because it's not like you're out there for 3 months. You're not out there for 200 miles. It's like this in-between distance, and it's like a lot of it's like kind of hard to crew as well. So you're kind of like shuffling all these things, and I don't know, like when Mike dropped it at Summer Haven, was it 2 years ago or something? Like, dude, that I was like, I fell for him, like going that far out there and then dropping like. At least he was around Tucson, so you get food after. But
yeah, and it's just so brutal. Those climbs are so long. I mean, even that climb up Mount Lemmon is like a vertical mile probably.
Dude, yeah, up like Oracle Ridge.
Yeah, that's a tough way too.
Yeah, it's just steep, man. It is so steep, but Lemmon's cool though. Like that's the cool thing about the Arizona Trail. Is like it's just so diverse. And like a friend from Europe a few years ago during lockdowns, like he texted me, he was like, hey, like all my races are canceled, can I do the Arizona Trail in January? And like his thought from Europe was like, oh, the Arizona Trail, it's desert, like it's all like Tucson or something. It's like no, like not even anything close to that. But he didn't realize it was so like diverse and like high on certain places, and even like in the southern section it's high, like the mountains down there, like, you get up high and it's like you can have snow and stuff on Lemon. Like maybe it's not like being in Montana, but still awful.
I hit snow on Miller Peak, just like that's like 4 miles into the trail because it's so high up, and that's 4 miles in from the south, so it's like 4 miles from Mexico. It is such a crazy trail. And then the northern section, I had like 70 more miles of continuous snow on the Kaibab Plateau. It's just miserable. No wonder somebody beat my record.
Yeah. It's also a hard one to crack though for that reason, because like if you start in the spring, you have certain weather variables. You start in the fall, you have certain weather variables. So it's like what do you choose? Like, do you choose to have a really cold like northern section, a really cold southern section? Do you want snow? Do you want like no water? Like it's so interesting. It's a puzzle for sure.
And it's like 2 weeks. So weather forecasts are not going to be correct 2 weeks out. So you could hit anything starting like 4 or 5 days in, and like the mud on that thing can get ridiculous. It's such a cool trail. I think everyone should thru hike it, but if you're going to go for an FKT, you have to have so much luck.
No, I agree. I was actually thinking about this yesterday, but I want to just start in Pine and go south. Like I've done like the plateau sections where I'm like, I'm sick of like these dirt roads and like because to me personally, like besides the Grand Canyon on the north side, it was kind of like, man, it's all kind of the same at a certain point. Like I just want to do the Arizona Trail, but like modified from Pine south, because like to me, that's the cool section. But I'm a desert kid, so.
It's like all single track from there. It's all flat and boring other than the Grand Canyon, and the plateau is okay, but once you've done that, you don't need to do it again. It's just pine forest.
Exactly. But, shout out to our friends in Flag that it's not that exciting.
Yeah. Flag is like the San Francisco peaks and then flat, like just soft dirt trail everywhere. I mean, it's too easy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You got to go south and just get stuck in choyas and attacked by rattlesnakes.
No kidding. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Phoenix is more of a runner's town than Flagstaff. We said it here.
Dude, that is the word.
I mean, Tucson's underrated for sure. I don't know about Phoenix though.
Yeah. Okay. This is the thing. I mean, this is gonna probably piss off a lot of people in Arizona. Like, I've lived in Phoenix when I worked at Aravaipa. I've lived in Tucson, and I've never lived in Flag, but I'm there quite a bit, like with Jeff and other people. And like Flag is cool because like the elevation's cool. Like, it's not obviously as hot in the summer. You have the Grand Canyon pretty close, but like to me, it's just kind of like, okay, everything's kind of the same. But the vibe is cool. Like, the people are rad. Don't get me wrong. Phoenix is cool just simply because like you have dirt trails in a city, and you can get like same day Amazon shipments to your house. Like, whatever you like. Go to the airport, you're flying home, you can just like have like Amazon deliver food to your door, and it's great within like hours. And there's good trails in town, honestly. I mean, the community's rad. Like, there's a really good trail running community and road running community there. But like Tucson is this like next level. Like, you have a really cool mishmash of cultures. Like, you're near Mexico, Arizona trails there in town. You got mountains. People are cool, a little more laid back, and like it's fun. I love Tucson.
Yeah, it's 4 seasons too, because you can go up high all summer and you can stay down low all winter. It's perfect. It's like they have that ski resort even on Mount Lemmon. I always forget about that.
It's open like one day a year or something.
Yeah, but it is open.
That is true. You can ski in southern Arizona. Like, you're just not the best skiing in the planet, but you can do it.
Yeah, not even close. But there is snow.
It is nice though. Like, I remember like a couple of years ago, like I was gone on a trip for work and I flew home back to Tucson, and like my AC just like wouldn't work, and it was like 1,000 degrees because it was like July, so it was like, F this. And so I was like so sick of traveling in hotels. I just got in my truck and drove up Mount Lemmon at like, I don't know, 1 a.m. or something, just left up there. And it was awesome. I'm like, this is way better than a hotel. Like, it's perfect temperatures up there. It was nice and quiet, and I had to buy a hotel room, so it was worth it.
Nice. Yeah.
But at least it's that close though is the cool thing. Like, it's rad.
Yeah. That is the dream. Yeah. All right, let's dive into nutrition because it's your favorite topic. What is Derrick Lytle's opinion of this new wave of high carb fueling?
Oh man, do you want my honest opinion or?
Let's do dishonest opinion first and then honest opinion to clean it up.
Dude, you gotta eat carbs to go fast. No, like, so this is my thoughts on it. Like, I'm not anti-carb. Like, a lot of people think that I'm anti-carb, and I've gotten these comments before, like, oh, you just hate carbs and blah, blah, blah. You think carbs are bad. It's like, no, like, I don't think, maybe I've said that before, but like, it's not, I don't think the data suggests that. And I just think it's kind of silly to think that like, you're going to win like Western states, like on a 0 carb, like diet. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you're not just going to drink like, I don't know, like sparkling water and like take salt all the time, right? Like,
yeah, this isn't the 1990s of trail running. Yeah,
exactly.
Drink maple syrup.
I'm not Anton, like,
yeah.
But I'd have more than like 1 soft flask for 30 miles. But so like the high carb thing is interesting because like it's gone through phases where like people have gone high carb and there's like lower carb phases and high carb phases. And it's interesting because like current data say that like you can get about like 90 to 100 grams of carbs an hour as a mixture between glucose and fructose, which is interesting. Like, that's how much most people can absorb. But then some people are doing more than that without like GI issues. And I do think that like for fueling in general, or for racing in general, you need to be eating a lot. Like look at like Western states, for example. Like on my podcast account, I asked every top 10 male like what or how many carbs per hour they did, and most of them were trying to push to 100. Like, some people were less than that, but they were all shooting for 100 because like you need that to run fast. And then like the women are a little bit different, like just because men and women, like physiology and biology is different. Generally, it will do a little bit less, but they're still trying to push the limit on it. And I think it's interesting because like, we're just trying to push the limits of human capability. And I think there is a difference too between like everyday nutrition for like, say, a sedentary person or someone who's relatively sedentary, and somebody running 100 miles a week and lifting multiple times a week or something. Like, it wouldn't make sense to like, to I don't know, like not eat enough, right? Like you need to fuel the work that you're doing. And so there's nuance there. And I think people just get roped up in it. Like I have friends that have been like, well, I'm going to run this local 50K doing 100 grams of carbs an hour. I'm like, you're doing a 6-hour 50K. Like your heart rate is low. You don't need to be eating that much. But if you're running like Walmsley pace or Hayden pace or rods like at States, it's like you got to fuel the furnace.
Yeah. And I think it is such a big thing now because all the numbers from elite athletes and especially the Tour de France, like how much they're consuming, like all this science came out about it. And that's so unrealistic for probably every single trail runner of hitting any of the cyclist numbers. And while we could call it high carb, I think it's probably more like in that 70 grams an hour or 60 to 80 grams an hour for the average person, because yeah, you're not moving at 5:30 pace on the Western States course. So it is nuanced, and it's always interesting how we broadcast the top of the field and then everyone adapts their strategy to that when you're not running the same race. Like you wouldn't go out with Jim Walmsley's race plan, so why would you go out with his nutrition plan? So I think it's just going to be interesting, and there's going to be a lot more throwing up as people realize they don't need to feel like they're going to win the Tour de France, but they do need to fuel, just not the same level.
Exactly. And it's like, I think people just want like, and myself included, we just want like the simple answer. It's like, well, how do I fuel an ultra? Like, you eat a lot. It's like, well, what if you're walking? Like you're walking a 20-minute mile. Like you don't need to be eating 100 grams in that hour in those 3 miles you're doing. Like it doesn't make any sense to do that. But then on the other hand, though, if you are like running like a high intensity, you're burning through glucose really fast and you're kind of like in this losing battle of trying to replenish it as much as possible to keep your blood sugar up. And it's interesting. Like it's an interesting game. And I don't know, like I've seen plenty of people just try to do too much, but then also people that do too little. Like I've done too little before, and you can feel it, and you start fueling appropriately. And like you do feel a lot better. Like your recovery is a lot better. Like everything ends up being better. So it's trying to like find that balance to like what's working for you and not working for Jim or like a Katie Scheid or somebody, because she did quite high level at States, for example. And so it's interesting though. Like I think it's super interesting.
How do you think fat adaptation and fat burning folds into all this?
I think, and like Krupa said this before, and I 100% agree with him, that like all ultra runners are burning fat to a certain extent. Because even like running like Jim pace at States, like the fastest he's running like on a flat is probably like 7-minute pace. Well, maybe through Forest Hill, well, faster through Forest Hill, but like in a normal section, you're not running that fast. And like when you're that fit, like 7:30 pace is very manageable. So like I think most athletes are probably burning a lot more fat than they think. And I think the spring debacle that happened like a couple months ago kind of shows that like people thought they were doing like 100 grams an hour of awesome sauce, but really they were doing like 40 or 50 grams. So they were taking in way less fuel than they thought they were. So, and I think even more so like at an event like Cocodona, like when you're out there for that long, like you're not just pounding gels the whole time, right? Like you're eating like some real food, like a lot of like low intensity stuff just to keep moving. So your body is naturally going to be in a fat burning state versus like high glucose burning.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's kind of how it works together anyways. Like there are those periods of high intensity, but they're relatively few and far between even for the elite athletes, maybe until the end, but their heart rate's probably mostly in zone 2 for the entirety of the 100-miler, even if they're running so hard.
Yeah, and like thinking about that, just like whatever zone you're in, like Jim's zone 2 is different than my zone 2. Like Kipchoge's zone
higher. Yours is higher, right?
Yeah, obviously. Like like I follow Jim with the camera, so like I have to be in better shape there. I just haven't chosen to run States yet. I'll go that sub 14. That's not gonna happen. But it's interesting because like a pro marathon runner, for example, could run zone 2 and that might be like running 6-minute pace for. But like if I was running 6-minute pace like for 20 miles, like that is I probably couldn't do it. Especially right now, I couldn't do it. Like that's a hard workout for me. But like everyone's just in different places, and like there's so many variables that can affect that. So it's like you got to like think about it and not just do like what you were saying earlier, not just do what the pros are doing, but like do what's going to work for you specifically.
Yeah, I think just to put a bow on it, the biggest thing is like no one winning or doing well at these races shows up and does 100 grams of carbs an hour for the first time. They have done it for weeks or months leading into it. And I think that's the biggest thing is whatever you're going to do or decide to do, you have to try it out or else you just end up a mess at an aid station.
Dude, and to put a bow on the bow, they, like Rod Farvard, for example, we were speaking about it. Like he's ran states a few times now, and he trained, like he had issues going into like, well, he's a good runner for sure, but he's had issues, various nutritional issues over the years. And like him and his coach specifically for canyons trained his gut really hard to max his carb intake. And he applied those same principles at Western States, and look how well he ran. So like it took him a lot of trial and error, learning things, and like being very specific to get to where he wants to be. And so like maybe you don't want to like podium in Western States, but like I think specificity is really important. Like if you're gonna be running like Cocodona or like Bigfoot 200 or something this weekend, it's like, okay, like what is your goal, and like how can you like work to reach that goal? Like what specific things you need to do?
Yeah. It'd be sick if we had a Bigfoot 200 listener because it started this morning. So if it like comes out Monday and they download it and listen, like gold star, we'll each send them like an autographed envelope or something. So,
but they only hear the beginning part about 100 grams of carbs an hour, and like they're pushing 100 the last like 20 miles or something.
Yeah, they jumped up to 120. Yeah.
You go big or go home. Dude, that's interesting though, is like triathlon, for example. Like they obviously don't eat on the swim. So on your bike is like your time to eat. So like people or guys that are doing like, or women too are doing Ironmans, like they're pushing like 140 an hour on the bike. And that way they eat less while they're running. So like they kind of essentially do like a fasted hour workout on the swim, ride and eat a ton and drink a ton. And then they run a freaking fast marathon. Like it's crazy.
When do they stop taking in calories? Do they stop with like an hour left and just like hold on? Or is there like a point where they're just drop everything extra so they can push harder?
Dude, I don't know. Like I've never done like an Ironman or anything, not getting involved in that community. But like, you know what's crazy though is like there's a couple studies showing, or maybe a study showing that like putting in like 90 grams an hour the last bit of your workout can help expedite your recovery. So even if you are only doing like 60, like for the first like 5 hours of a race or a workout, the last hour you do 90, like you're probably going to recover faster.
Yeah, I've been doing this for quite a while where I just forget to eat and then I just take in all 3 gels within the last like 30 minutes, but a little bit more intentionally this summer, but it has really led to bouncing back a lot quicker. It is pretty wild. But yeah, everything did change for me when I realized that awesome sauce was just applesauce and I was taking in about 1/3 of the calories I thought I was. And that's what I had for all of Cocodona. So it worked great.
Dude. I did an FKT in the Grand Canyon. It took me 2 days, and Brownie had given me a ton of spring gels because they had sent him a bunch and he didn't want to use it or whatever. And so I was like, sweet, I'm just going to use like spring gels the whole time. And the whole time I was starving, and I pounded so much spring, and it was probably because I was getting 1/3 of the nutrition I thought I was getting.
Yeah, I know. The only time I ever felt anything was from the one with like probably a thimble full of caffeine, whatever gel they had with caffeine. But it was probably just the caffeine. Speed Nut, maybe? I don't remember. Spring has got too many mentions, so we'll just like name a couple other brands. Goo, Precision, Tailwind, Scratch. More. Okay, now we've evened it out. We can move on.
Yeah, now the SEO will be good for the show.
Yeah, we're trying to get all the brands in there so that we're completely set. Okay, now I want to hit on a couple more things, but like grand to grand. So I'm doing this stage race here in like a month. Yeah, it's like in a month. I got to turn in like a medical form signed by a doctor somehow. But
I can find a doctor.
Yeah, my friend's a PT. That'll work, right?
So a veterinarian, right?
Yeah. No, that was a vegetarian. Yeah, I'll find one. Yeah. Okay, grand to grand stage race. It's when you, I guess, I don't know, maybe I heard of it through you or something, but it sounds kind of sick to have this thing where you're racing for multiple days, but the clock stops each day. And so that's kind of as much research and as much as I know about it. So why don't you enlighten me and tell me how to win this stage race? Tell me how to win the Tour de France of America on foot.
Dude, you got to PR your 50K every day and just taking 100 grams of carbs an hour the last hour every day, and you'll be good to go.
I'm going to do 200 an hour.
Dude, yeah, do 7 gels again. Yeah, I need to try that. The stage racing's interesting though, dude, because I think everyone knows about like MDS, and like stage racing's big in Europe and people love it. Like MDS is a huge event. Like I don't know how many entrants they get every year, but it's massive. And then for whatever reason in the US, like stage racing isn't a thing. Like people just want to run. Like they don't want to carry a pack. Like I don't even like running with a pack personally. Like I hate it. I'd much rather just run with a belt and like bottles or something. But
in a 20-pound camera, yeah.
Yeah, and that too. Like one really big arm and one really small arm. Sautry have small arms. But it's interesting though. It's not like really a thing here. Like it's so popular, and like half of the people that run Grand to Grand are like Europeans or Africans or like from other countries, and like people are really into it. But it's not here. Like it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, I watched a movie like Marathon des Sables a few years ago, and that was like my first even intro to like that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, and like it's completely different style of racing, because like with the 200, I feel like it's more like an FKT / race put together where you're out there for multiple days and like doing things and being like very efficient with your time. But like with a multi-day stage race where you're running, like you could be out for 4 hours one day and then like 10 the next day. It's like pacing yourself and your speed and your nutrition over the course of the week. But then also like the packing aspect of like, say a multi-day FKT comes into a factor too, because you're carrying everything with you. It's like self-sufficient for the most part. Like you're not carrying a tent, you have to carry all your water and stuff, but like you have to pack like a specific amount of food and like all these different things. So like there's so many aspects that can be taken from like say the Arizona Trail mixed in with like Cocodona, mixed in with all these other things, like all thrown into one little package. You do that in a week, and it's interesting. I guess it's a different puzzle to put together. It's not just running hard.
Yeah, I think it sounds really similar to through hiking, because you're in like hiking mode throughout the day, and then all evening and the next morning you're in like chill and hang out mode until you move back into movement mode. Whereas like an FKT or a 200, the clock starts and it doesn't stop till you finish. And just having it stop every day is kind of cool. Just like what's the right amount to burn some matches, but not all of them each day.
Yeah, but then on top of that too, it's like, well, okay, if you run really fast, like say you, for example, just ran like a 4-hour day the first day, you sit at camp in the sun, and you're just getting hot and cooked all day, then you got to run the next day still. So it's like, how do you balance out like being outside and moving slowly, but like whatever, also sleeping at night? Because like you're in a camp with other people, and it's like, what if people want to stay up and talk? It's like, do you want to be antisocial, or do you want to be social with people? And like you see like all aspects of this at camp, and it's interesting.
Yeah. So what's the strategy? What's the way to do well at this?
What's your definition of doing well? Do you want to have a good time, or do you want to win?
I want to do both.
Just let me drag you around.
I'm the master at trying to thread the needle and do both. So that's what I'm going for.
Oh man, I say take everything you learned from through hiking and eat a lot of good food, but I don't know, just like pace yourself. Like I think everybody goes out hard the first day, and then a lot of people drop on like day 2 or 3 because they just go out and they wreck themselves. And like people don't realize they still have like 5 more days of racing after that. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the breakdown's like a 50K the first day, then there's like a 50-mile day. I don't know. It's like, yeah, what is the break? Do you know the breakdown off the top of your head? This is a quiz.
Oh man, I'm going to fail this quiz. I think it's about around a marathon the first day, 50K the second day. The third day is the long stage, where it's a 50-miler. And that one's interesting because like you have, I think the cutoff is, I don't know, it's like 2 days basically. So you could do a really slow 50-miler and walk. Let's say you just wanted to finish, you could do that. But then the faster you run, and the faster you can get to camp and just sleep and hang out, because there's basically a rest day. So it's like, okay, like how do you manage that? Like it's interesting. But then like there's another like couple more 50K days, and the last day is like a 10K just to the finish. Then there's a big dinner afterwards because everybody's emaciated at that point.
Yeah, totally. I've eaten all their food like 2 days prior. Yeah.
Well, that's the other interesting thing too, is like, I don't think you would do this, but like a lot of people don't pack their food adequately, as in they bring too much. And so they're like, well, I'm going to be out there for 6-7 days and I eat this much at home, so I'm going to bring that much food. It's like, no, like you're trying to like ride that line of like not bunking, but then also having enough to like get through the day. And like Joe, do you know Jeff Peltier? He took second at Moab last year.
Yeah.
He ran it years ago. I met him like when the first editions when he ran it, and he's not a big person, but he lost a bunch of weight during the race. He did really well. But you're riding that line of like kind of going back to fat burning of like, okay, like how many onboard calories do you have and how can you utilize those in this race? But then also if you like take too much because you want to eat more, you're still burning more calories. So it's like, it's another balancing act for sure.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the hard thing, because I did the John Muir Trail FKT on like 3,000 calories a day just because I didn't feel like eating. And that is a number that's probably too low. So I guess I'll aim for slightly more than that.
Maybe do like 35.
Yeah. 3,300. Perfect. Same.
Perfect.
Okay. One of the last topics I wanted to hit on is you're really into bike packing. Or like long bike adventures. What is the draw to that versus just going and through hiking a trail or a race or something? Is it like a chance to get away from the running and the on your feet and do something different, or what? What do you feel?
It's kind of that. Like I got a bike a couple of years ago, and it was like, it'd be fun just like do some cross training stuff because it looks cool, like whatever. And like I have a gravel bike, so I'm not doing anything like super hardcore by any means, but like bikepacking to me just looked interesting because like backpacking is fun because to go out and like but you're kind of limited on like the amount of space you can travel in that day, right? Like it's hard to go too far. But like on a bike, you could do like 150-mile day and like still have time to kind of hang out and depending on how fast you're going. And then like your body doesn't hurt as bad. Like if you're used to that, like you're doing longer days, like you can get up and ride every day. And like, it's kind of cool, like how much more you can, or how much more like distance you can travel in a day versus walking or even running. Like you are limited on like where you can go in a lot of ways, but this is a different way to explore. And it's kind of fun to have all these different variables of like, okay, like is my bike set up properly for this trail? Like whatever, can I stop at this gas station 50 miles away and like fill things up? And it's a different way of traveling and it's fun. And then like also like, I think it's interesting, like when you're like through hiking or something, like people like either assume you're a through hiker or you're just like some homeless like vagabond that's like gonna like, I don't know, rob them in the corner or something. But when you have
the
a bike,
line is getting very blurred too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like especially like in like Arizona or something, you're like, okay, like there's a lot of variables here of what you could be. But like when you're on a bike though, people are like, okay, like you look like you're homeless, but like you have a nice bike, so let me ask you a question. You don't seem as dangerous. So it's like almost like this conversation starter. And you look freaking goofy. Let's be real. Like you're riding a bike, you look dumb. But like that also gets people interested in what you're doing. And it's kind of fun to like open up conversations that way with like random people. And it's just different, I guess. It's a different way of getting around. And like in the end with things, like I like being outside. Like I like going for walks sometimes, like just going for a walk. Like it's just nice to be outside. Like running, I love running. Biking's awesome. So it's like these different ways of traveling outside and seeing different things. Cause like I've ran routes and I've biked that same route and I see drastically different things, have different experiences. So it's like, this is a different like modality, I guess.
Yeah. How do you plan out water? Cause I think a lot of your routes are in like the Southwest. Do you just find convenience stores, or how are you handling water on these 150-mile days?
It's stuff like that. Like, well, that's kind of the cool thing about biking is like, they say on the Arizona Trail, you know how like the water's so far and like in between.
And terrible.
You might have,
yeah.
It's always like terrible, like tank water.
Yep.
But like on a bike though, you could be like, okay, like I can have enough water for like 70 miles and you can just have enough bottles to do that. And so it's kind of fun. But then also like in the Southwest anyways, like there's cattle tanks and stuff. So you can kind of like plan like around that stuff. So it's like that same puzzle of through hiking, but just like a little bit different because you have maybe you can go a little further without having to like refill on water or something. And plus you can bring more with you too sometimes.
Yeah. And I think bikepacking is quite a ways ahead as far as like resources and corners of the internet and different routes online than through hiking. I think through hiking, there's probably like 50 pretty well-known routes in the US. Bikepacking, there's websites with like thousands. So I think that's the cool thing too. And through hikers are pretty siloed if they don't realize that.
Yeah, I also think that like people on bikes are more creative. Like look at like mountain bike trail names versus like trail names. Like it's like, oh, here's like, I don't know, like blue opal of the sky or something. And you have like a trail, it's just like Kaibab Trail. It's like, okay, it's descriptive, but it's also not very creative.
Yeah, rim to rim to rim.
Yeah, exactly. Rim to rim to rim to rim to rim to rim to rim, like whatever the hell it's called. It's like 20 rims. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Let's have something more interesting. But I don't, honestly though, dude, like, so I made a route from my hometown where I grew up in Overton, like, and I went up to this town up in central Nevada, across over into Utah, like kind of down, like almost getting to Arizona. And I'd mapped it out, like created this route, and I did it over 2 days. It was 250 miles, but like, it was like this weird creative thing to do because like when you go out and like run a race or something, it's like, okay, everything's catered for you, right? Mm-hmm. You like run a 50 mile and like, okay, there's the aid station here, which is fun. Like it's fine. I have nothing against that. But it was fun to like build my own route and be like, okay, like it's from Overton to here, it's 75 miles. Okay. And there's gonna be water here. So if I need to, I can stop and get water, but there's also a gas station here. Then if I go here, I'll have this, I'll have that. And connecting all these things and like exploring a new place, like kind of like mapping something out online and kind of in person, but then putting it all together is like, it's really fulfilling. It's super fun to do. And I've never really done that like hiking. Like I've done like, okay, I'm going to go down this trail, but not like creating an entirely new route that like, if you were to walk it, you could, but it wouldn't really make sense. But on a bike, it makes sense.
Yeah, I totally understand that because for the Great Western Loop, I had to link the Grand Canyon to the Pacific Crest Trail. And it was just like Google Earth, a few like websites and then Google Maps and just trying to figure out where I could get water, what would go, what was public land, and had a few, join a random road along the way, have to jump a couple fences, eventually make it 66-mile water carry across Joshua Tree. But it was so exciting to like finally hit where you're aiming for. I don't know. It's this whole thing of like, oh my God, that actually worked. That's incredible. So it's really fun when you create something and it goes. It's almost like when you're climbing and you're like, oh, we can make it. And then you do. And it's like, whew, wow.
Yeah. Like it's awesome. Like you feel like so accomplished doing that. And like, it's so different than like, I don't know, like I don't want to make it sound easy. Obviously there's Arizona Trails and easy, but like you have the Gut Hook app. Like, I guess that's what it's called now. It's gone through like 20 name changes over the years. But like everything is kind of catered to you in little ways. Maybe like these other trails are more established trails are a better example where like, where there's going to be a resupply, where there's like consistent water, all these things. But when you have to like build something out and like make it yourself, like it's cool to like connect pieces together. Like it's cool to see you stoked on that because I think it's fun. I think in society, we're kind of like so used to being catered to and like babied quite a bit that we don't actually do these things that are actually a challenge. Like we do challenges, but they're like catered challenges, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even like an ultra marathon, 100-miler, random 100-miler number 10, like there's going to be an aid station every 10 miles. And if you run into trouble, you don't even need to self-extract. Like you can DNF and they'll drive you out of there. I don't know. It's the one thing that's been interesting about coming up in through hiking or FKTs or pushing yourself where the consequences are like, I have to get out of here or press an SOS button. So I'm going to get myself out every time, even if I fail. And I don't know, that just makes it way more exciting than just in ultra running, like 100-miler in my head. It's like tick off each aid station. It's a progression, but it's pretty linear and easy versus like an adventure. There's a couple ridge lines that I've done out here with friends where there's no trail. We don't know if the ridge is going to go and we're just exploring and it's not linear. Like one half-mile section might take us an hour and a half to get through. And those are the most fun adventures because you're like actually exploring.
Yeah, 100%. Like the outcome is unknown. And it's like, okay, like if I fail here, it's like maybe not life or death sometimes, but sometimes it is. And it's like, okay, I got to like make this happen. And I want to make it clear that like I'm not the most like extreme person on the planet. Like I was saying earlier, I've never ran 100, like some things, but like, and those things are definitely a challenge and they're hard, but like there's a difference between like a catered challenge and like creating something yourself or piecing things together. Like it's a totally different experience. And like, I'm not saying you have to do like something like you're saying, like connecting the Great Western Loop or whatever, but like it is a cool experience to do that, and to like, it's fulfilling and rewarding to do it. It's such a different experience. And I think everybody should like try to do that to some extent.
Yeah, make something, try to follow through with it, see if it happens. Okay,
Yeah.
last thing before we're gonna make you sound like a badass when we send you out of here. I want to hear the story of you filming a video in Mexico with these ladders. So I just stumbled across this thing about you, and now I want to hear this story.
Oh, dude. So, and assuming you're talking about the Via Ferrata, right?
I think so. They were like dangling ladders, and some guy wanted a video about it.
Oh, dude. So my buddy Bruce. So when I first graduated college, I should backtrack. So when I first graduated college, like I had a job and like a SEO job at this tech company in Utah, and like whatever it paid, like it paid the bills, which were pretty minimal at the time. But my buddy Bruce was just starting freelancing filming, and he was really big into rock climbing. So like that's his thing. Like we've worked together over the years on various projects. Like he helps me with running, I help him with climbing stuff. I don't climb, he doesn't really run, but like it works. Like we work together really well. Like he's a good dude, he's fun to work with. And he wanted to go to Mexico and like film at this place that was like super popular in Monterey. And I was like, cool, yeah, like let's go. Like this sounds sick. Like should totally do that. And so we had like this week and a half planned out there, like zero budget. Like I think I bought my flight on like the Southwest or American like credit card where you like you get on the flight and they're like, oh, we'll give you a credit card. And I'm like, oh, sick. So financially was probably a stupid decision. We went down there. So like, and he had friends, like he lived down in Monterey for a couple of years. So he like knew people. So we stayed at some people's houses. Like it was great. It was a sick trip. And there's this place called La Huasteca and it has some cool trails, like not really running trails, but you can run there. They're just like gnarly, like Mexican, like sharp rock trails, like not really maintained. But it's also a really big climbing area. And so we had been out there a few times to film for this project. And this guy we met was like, hey, we have like this Via Ferrata. Like we want some like promo material for it. Like if we take you on it, will you give us some stuff for free? And we're like, we had like a rest day. So we're like, yeah, like that sounds kind of fun. Like, I don't know, like Via Ferrata in Mexico. And like my buddy who climbs was like, yeah, like this should be safe and like good to go. And I'm like, I don't know, like I trust you. Like I don't climb. So like Bruce and I go out there and we meet this like tour guide guy. And it's just like, I don't know, just like some random dude basically. Like it's not like a legit, it's not like you're like at the one in like Uray or something where it's all like nice and like well put together. And we're like, we start climbing. It's like, oh, it's fine. Like I'm learning, just like whatever. Like I said, I don't climb. So I'm just like making sure I'm always like clipped in. Bruce is helping me. And we're like, obviously we bring our cameras and stuff. And then we get to this section where it's like, it's like we're at like we get to this spot and it's like, there's just like two ladders like dangling there. Like you can just see like the wire. There's like wired together with like baling wire. And it's like ladders from like Home Depot, dude. And I'm just like, where are we going? Bruce is like, I think we're going up. And the guy, and like, we both speak Spanish, but I'm like, do I not understand like what you're saying? Like, are we supposed to go up here? Like, yeah, dude, we're going up. And so we went up. These ladders are just like free hanging essentially in the air. And it was the most terrifying thing I've ever done. Cause I'm like, this is nothing against Mexico, but I'm like, not a lot of safety standards there in a lot of ways. Like I love Mexico, but it's not always safe. Some random dude who like, if we died, he'd probably just like bury us and like go home and not tell anybody about it. So we're just climbing these dangling ladders in the air in La Huasteca.
Are you having to film like these ladders too and stuff?
We took some photos, but I think I took like one or two, and I'm like just shaking as I'm up there because I'm like dangling in the air and like I don't love heights, but I don't hate them. But like when you're not really secure, it's way different than like looking over the edge of like Half Dome or something. Like,
well, like an aluminum ladder is just like waving in the wind with you on it, secured by baling wire.
Yeah, it'd be different if it were like, okay, like we have like, I don't know, like steps or something like in the side of the rock. But no, it's a friggin' like hanging ladder with baling wire, dude. Like the most terrifying thing I've ever done. Like we got off and my buddy Bruce was like, yeah, that was sketch. Like I was like, yeah, like dude, we almost friggin' died. Like
did you have to go back down it too then?
No, there was like some other like down climb that was like super mellow. I'm like, dude, we should have done that and like avoided the death situation. Like just filmed that guy from the top and not shot him. Like
so somebody hauled up ladders when they didn't even need to up there when there's a more mellow way to climb it.
Dude, this is the thing with climbing. Like, climbers are so funny. Like, I can't climb. I suck at climbing. I have like no desire to do it, maybe it's because I suck at it. But they're always like, oh, here's this arbitrarily hard route. We should do that. I'm like, why? Like, just go with the easy way. Like, it doesn't make any sense to like crimp on these little things and you could just like walk up the backside. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, doesn't Alex Honnold know there's a trail to the top of everything he's climbed?
Yeah, exactly. Or just take a helicopter. Like, just make it easy.
Dude, North Face will give you a helicopter. It's fine.
Exactly. But you know what's funny though, dude, is like, so I went there. So we made this film. It was great. Like, well, I thought it was great. Like, at the time, it was cool for us, like, whatever. But then I went back to Mexico 2 years later or 2 years ago with Jason Schlarb. And it was in that same place. Like, he had a buddy that lived there in Monterey and went to La Huasteca and we went on some runs there. And it was so fun to go run and like see it from a like dangling off ladder perspective and like having a good time with Jason and these other people and like seeing the running community. So it was kind of cool to go back and like have this, I don't know, drastically different experience there and not almost die.
You didn't go check on the ladders though?
Dude, I thought about it. The whole time I was there, I was like, dude, like, should put the officially dead bodies at the bottom of the ladders.
I know. Now I'm curious if they're still out there dangling. Just 10 years older.
I'm going to text Bruce after this and see like if he remembers what that place is called. Because it is not safe, dude. It was terrifyingly scary.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll, what do you call it? Geotag it so people can get out there.
I don't want to be responsible for any death, so let's not do that.
Yeah, the aspiring almost former lawyer, Derrick Lytle here.
Emphasis on the almost.
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining. This was awesome and pretty hilarious too. Hopefully people stuck around this long.
Dude, it's fun to chat. It's always fun to chat with you. And like I was saying, I'm editing the Cocodona video right now. There's little snippets of you in it, so it's always fun to see people again and catch up.
Yeah, that was like the worst race. I've never run 200 miles with an injury before, and I hope to never again.
Let's hope it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. That was Derrick Lytle. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I thought it was pretty fun. I always enjoy talking to him. Like, he's basically lives in a camper most of the year. He just drives it around. He could end up anywhere. Anyways, let's just call that an episode. It's been plenty long, and I am tired as usual, which is the new thing when we say, like, how are you doing? Everyone says tired. We used to say good, but now we just say tired. I think it's just like, what do they call that? Like, I don't know. Like common, not lexicon, socially acceptable. I don't know. It's the new style. No one is ever good anymore. Everyone's always tired. Okay, with that, I'm tired. Goodbye. Stay elite, my friends.